Hey everyone, this is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, make sure to subscribe with whatever platform you use so you never miss an episode. All right, cue that music.
Hey, and whoa! To Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views and television specials that shaped professional wrestling history. Today, we're here to talk about WrestleMania 18 that took place on March 17th back in the year 2002. A night where golden era legends like Flair and Hogan collided with the top names of that year like The Undertaker and The Rock. We got white trash bands and golden trash cans, y'all. More title changes than there were actual matches and absolute tippity-top end of the Attitude Era chaos. But before we get into WrestleMania 18, it's WrestleMania season. It was then around this time. It is now around that time. And the Elimination Chamber last weekend from WWE was the last major pay-per-view heading into WrestleMania next month. And I assume if you're a wrestling fan, you probably caught it. Aaron and I certainly did. So I kind of want to talk about that first. I'm Bradley Palermo, here, as always, with Aaron Fink. And Aaron, what did you think of the Elimination Chamber this past weekend?
Chamber was I guess. Let's see. Women's chamber match was pretty good, but as soon as Rhea lost the tag titles with Io the day before, I think it was pretty clear that Rhea was probably going to be the one to win. So the match was good. A little disappointed with the outcome. Let's see. The championship matches were both fine. The AJ Becky one was okay. The Punk Balor one was good. But again, I knew who was going to win both of those. And men's chamber was good. And this was probably the one thing besides Danhausen that I was like surprised by. So
yeah, we knew that in the men's chamber match we were going to get Seth Rollins in a mask coming out and stopping Paul. I think that was kind of obvious. What I didn't think was obvious is that Randy Orton, hometown boy, St. Louis, Missouri, would win the chamber. And I thought, Orton versus McIntyre, Orton versus somebody could be really cool. Orton versus McIntyre. McIntyre, not a strong champion. But now I'm realizing that doesn't have to be the case, that Drew McIntyre still has time to drop that belt to Cody.
Oh, yeah, dude. They have a match on Friday.
And that will be awesome if it's Cody versus Orton at WrestleMania. And I was stoked to see something that I didn't know was going to happen because the rest of it was whatever. Even Danhausen, I mean, that's what the internet kept saying.
I texted it to you, yeah, as a joke.
That's what you said. Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't a surprise. I didn't really think you were joking because, I mean, that's what we knew that he signed with them, right? I mean, at least the dirt sheets said as much.
So I didn't actually read that he had signed, but I did happen to see he posted something. He posted a screenshot of the genie from the end of Aladdin when it says, "I'm free." So I assumed that meant that something. I probably did see somebody saying Danhausen was WWE bound. So once I saw that, I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, it probably is him in the box. It would make a lot of sense." And it did.
He got all the hype on the internet afterwards because he came out and did a little dance and had quite a lot of anticipation behind, well, not really him, but behind what was going to be in the box. And then it was Danhausen in a coffin with some vampire chicks, and no one knew who the fuck he was because WWE fans tend to be the most mainstream fans. And if you're not watching AEW and you don't go to indie shows, you may have never heard of Danhausen or seen Danhausen. And for those of you who are listening who don't know who Danhausen is, he's very nice, very evil. It's this thing. He's an ineffective sort of witchy man who casts spells on his opponents that don't work. And it's kind of like Andy Kaufman type of humor. The point is for a lot of people to be sort confused and not get it. And so for the mainstream big show audience to not get it when the lights go out you hear boos when the lights come back on. All of these dancing girls, and Danhausen himself is gone from the ring, a la Undertaker back in the day or whatever. The lights go out and he's gone, which I think is fascinating, because how fast do you pause, the lights go out, and then you just run your ass off and try not to run into each other to get out of that fucking ring?
Either that or they go underneath the ring, maybe. I don't know, but I think that people being upset about it being Danhausen were just too invested in it being Chris Jericho in the box, which we already know isn't going to happen, because didn't the dirt sheet say that his contract with AEW isn't actually done? It's on a pause, or it was on a pause, so it's being fulfilled or something like that?
Probably. And I mean, even more so, if we look it up really quick here, Fozzy toured.
Oh yeah, he's on tour with Fozzy, right?
He's on tour. I could be wrong. I don't think he's available. So, well, it looks like maybe not until May. So I don't know.
But if he's going to go on tour in May, he's not going to start up working with the WWE. Like, people are just grasping at straws. So,
right. It wouldn't be a good time. I think they were talking about it on one of these things we listened to on Busted Open or something. But Bad Bunny, is on a world tour, but it breaks for like a couple weeks around Mania. So you could, if someone's on tour and you want to know if there's a surprise, you can kind of see like, well, do we even have a chance of that, or are they going to be in fucking Sao Paulo or somewhere? It's like then you would, or fucking the other side of this country, whatever. But
people just got too hyped about Jericho, and so when it was revealed that it was Danhausen, I think the hype from Jericho didn't do him any favors. And Chicago was the right place for them to do this, because Chicago's like a smart crowd. They're pretty attuned to all of the independent wrestling and stuff like that. That's like one of the best places to wrestle. I feel like I'm constantly hearing. I guess not.
Well, they didn't seem too in tune with whatever WWD did with Danhausen, and I think that's fine, because I think he's supposed to elicit that kind of reaction if he comes like a dirty Dom or a
just like there's going to be golden interactions with so many people. It's going to be great. I've seen Danhausen in AEW. And I saw him online when he was sort of taking over during the pandemic, and he had the #1 selling t-shirt on ProWrestlingTees.com in 2022, I think. So
yeah, dude, I saw him do a match with GCW not that long ago, and I think he fought. It might have been. I think it was Smiley Kylie, another former AEW wrestler, and she kicks his ass. He's like, hold on a second, and he tries to cast a spell, and it doesn't work, and then he's just kind of like, oh well, and gets his ass kicked. But he does look, again, on WWE TV, he doesn't look impressive. His physique doesn't look that impressive compared to the wrestlers, but the dude looks way better than he did when he was in AEW. Like when he left AEW, he bulked up. Like in person, at least, he looked like a fucking wrestler. For what it's worth.
I'm sure. We'll see how much actual wrestling he does in WWE. I'm sure he'll have some matches, but his whole shtick is he doesn't really have like real matches. Like I've never seen a real full Danhausen match before. They're all just like jokey in some way.
Yeah, I can't think of one other than the one match I did see in the Indies in person. Like they did go for like 10 minutes. So it did get into suplexes and, elbow drops and stuff. Like he did do a match, but it definitely there were definitely some failed spells cast as well.
And you're not allowed to swear. There's no swearing, or else he'll charge you money for it. I remember all his little quirks. Yeah, I think it's funny. I assume that it's going to get over. It's just a matter of time. So we shall wait and see.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the rewind.
Icon versus Icon. This is WrestleMania 18 from March 17th, 2002 at the Sky Dome in Toronto, Canada. 68,237 people in attendance. Our old pals, Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler on commentary. And to those listening, if you are a fan of wrestling, you probably know about this pay-per-view. It's very famous for Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. There are a lot of good other matches too. There were some interesting little tidbits about this one before we get into any of the actual content. WrestleMania 18 was the last WrestleMania held before the introduction of the brand extension or the brand split. It was also the last WrestleMania held under the WWF name, which we've obviously talked about before, the switch to WWE. And this was the one that I didn't know or didn't realize until I read it. This was the last WrestleMania to be held outside the United States, and it will be the last one until they go to Saudi next year.
And also, it was the last WrestleMania of the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I guess you could probably say that too, because it was World Wrestling Entertainment after that. And so off to the races we go. This pay-per-view opens with Brad's favorite band of the early 2000s, Saliva.
Oh Christ, yes. When you called me and told me I was gonna love the intro, I was like, I can't wait to see what it is. I'm sure it's something that I'm not gonna love, but
yeah, and then I trolled you, yeah. But even I agree, this was really bad. It was a whole entire song, and it's not even like I'm not a fan of Saliva to begin with, but the dude couldn't even hit the fucking notes. Like, did you hear how bad he sounded?
Yeah. He's like, yeah, make me a superstar. Yeah, don't matter who you are. And he's singing about pills and dying at 27. Well, 60,000 people had me.
Yeah, I'm not a singer, a professional singer or anything, but even I could tell like this guy needs some auto tune or this guy's nervous or something.
I think WWE was being paid by the record label to put Saliva on there.
I wouldn't be surprised. No, I wouldn't be surprised. It's money, dude. Why wouldn't they?
We'll be back after a quick break.
And this episode has been brought to you by Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. If you've been injured in an accident, motorcycle, car, dog bite, slip and fall, or even if you've been hit in the head with a flying steel chair, these are the guys to call. They've got knockout reviews on Google, a killer track record, and they always fight for the win. I can testify to that personally. Weber for Law took care of me, and they will take care of you too. Don't wait. Visit weberforlaw.com. That's WEBER, the number 4, law.com. Or call 818-502-9200. That's 818-502-9200. Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. Like they performed what, like 7 or 8 times?
No, it wasn't all Saliva. There was Disturbed, was it Disturbed? Wait, no, it's Drowning Pool.
Okay, I can't distinguish hardly the difference between these.
Oh well, I have thoughts. Saliva stinks. Drowning Pool, okay. Those are my thoughts.
Okay.
So after Saliva plays a whole entire song, we get to the opening package, touting the importance of WrestleMania. We've got all these different legends now, superstars then, talking about how important it is and how much it means and blah, blah, blah. And so off to the races we go. The crowd is electric right from the jump. After this little package, we see the crowd, and there's like 70,000 people in this stadium. The vibe is like, they're hyped, like
more so than pretty much anything else that I remember watching for this podcast. Like the crowd's electricity is strong, like noticeably stronger than almost anything else. Like and the huge pyro blast to open. Again, we always talk about all the signs from the Attitude Era. I noticed I try to point out the ones that were funny. The one I kept seeing was I saw Steph's boobs. I guess they were talking about Stephanie McMahon.
Probably, yeah.
But, yeah. So,
you just feel it. You can feel the energy of this place. And of course, we've watched other Attitude Era pay-per-views where the crowd is very excited, but there's just something about this crowd. Canadian crowds, man, they're always really, really good.
That must be it. WrestleMania outside of the US, like you've just amped it up. Almost anywhere outside of the US, the crowds get a little more hyped.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes to their detriment when the chanting gets a little out of control. But yes, this is very much like a super famous crowd in wrestling history. So the first match of the card is RVD, Rob Van Dam, against William Regal for the Intercontinental Championship. I feel like we saw Regal win this in a pay-per-view from this year recently. Maybe I think we watched No Mercy 2002. That must have been where he won this. So yeah, this is a fun opening match. It wasn't super long. The first thing I wrote down about this match was Regal hit RVD with a suplex, just a normal back suplex. But the way they hit the ring, it sounded like a gunshot in the stadium. Like, I don't know if you heard that. And it wasn't always like that, because I think for this match, they were a little quiet at first, and then obviously got louder as the match and the pay-per-view went on. But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. But when that bell rang, they were just the fact that like WrestleMania started, they were off their feet. Like especially when the hard cam people, and they saw themselves on the hard cam, it was just like everyone up and down, like so much movement in the audience. But I love Regal. He's the old school smug heel, and
Me too.
He's all about the brass knuckles. I guess nowadays you always got to have one of those around. It's like whether it's like a Regal, or I guess now we have Logan Paul to go around with the brass knuckles. There's always that brass knuckles guy, but he's not having any luck with those things in this match. He's getting them taken away by the referee probably a couple times. Well, one time RVD kicks it out of his hand. He never gets to pull it off. So I guess he's ineffective without those knuckles. But I mean, he's a great wrestler, and RVD is I mean, his frog splash is insanely high. Like the hang time, I guess you'd call it, was crazy. And Regal got a little blood in his mouth early on. So, it did have a, I mean, for a match that barely exceeded 5 minutes or whatever, it still set a good tone. You were like, all right, like,
yeah, let's go.
We're getting into this. This is cool.
I enjoy watching Regal also, and watching Regal always reminds me of that phrase, accentuate the positives and hide the negatives, or hide the weaknesses. Not that Regal has very many weaknesses per se, like nothing that would make him a bad wrestler, but like he does what he knows, he does what he's good at, and he doesn't try to do things that like Rob Van Dam does. He's a mat wrestler, he's a technician, he's a heel, so he cheats. Like it works. I think
simplicity.
Yeah, it's simplicity, exactly. And like you said, Regal went through at least 2 pairs of brass knucks. Maybe there was a third pair even, but like it didn't work out. He got hit with the 5-star frog splash, and RVD is the new Intercontinental Champion. So, like you said, a fun, quick match, and a lot different. Like when I think about ECW from last week, we saw so many of these short matches, but this one, like, this had a flow, this had story in it. It had, things made logical sense. And I get that part of the ECW charm was that it sort of skewed all of those things and just did what it wanted. But I think this is great for an opener.
Right. It was one of my takeaways from not just this match, but this match, in addition to several other short matches that we'll see on this pay-per-view, is that it did remind me that what makes a good wrestling match is not necessarily length. Like, yeah, you can tell more of an epic story with a long match, but not all matches are supposed to be main event, like epic, 30-minute matches. So we see a lot of short matches on here that are good. We even see filler matches on here that don't suck. And I think, just like you said with the ECW thing, I wasn't in that mindset. I was starting to think like, man, I guess a wrestling match it needs to exceed like 12 minutes to be any good, because this shit is like trash. Not this. The last week's shit was trash. The William Regal versus Rob Van Dam match, which was Rob's Mania debut, by the way, resulted in a 3 1/4 star from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which is, pretty good, pretty fucking good for Dave.
The next match, Christian versus Diamond Dallas Page for the European Championship. DDP is the champ. Took a minute for me to get into this one, but ultimately I thought it was good. They told a story. it's slowly built up over time. Again, 6 minutes, 5-ish minutes.
This is also Diamond Dallas Page's first wrestling match, they said, at a WrestleMania at the age of 45.
Yeah, crazy. He was there previously driving somebody in one of his cars. I can't remember who they said, but they were like, oh yeah, last time he was at a WrestleMania, it was this year, and he was driving this person in his such and such car. And I was like, oh, okay.
Lawler in this match said he assumed that Canada would have Mounties for referees, which I thought was stupid and funny.
Yeah, he is
stupid and funny. I mean, dude, it's the same referees that the WWE has every night. Like,
yeah, I don't know. He's just being silly, I guess.
I've always wished that the European and the Intercontinental and like U.S. titles and things like that actually had geographic constraints. Like, I feel like the European title should have to be defended in Europe.
I could see that.
Or like the IC title has to be contended, or like television titles have to be contested on TV shows, not pay-per-views.
I mean, I feel like they did that.
Or like have to be contested every episode or percentage. Like I wish there were kind of like rules on those titles, you know?
I think there were. I mean, in particular, the TV titles, I think of the 80s, those historically were defended, I think, on television. And then the other part of that belt was they had the time limit. Like TV titles are always short matches because I assume it was on TV often.
On Smoky Mountain Wrestling, they had a television title, and it was to kind of get over a new guy.
Right.
You had to, you got like 8, you would wrestle with it 8 times. And it was like weekly. And then you either sort of lose it to another guy during that run, or you sort of graduate it. Like you move on. Like you don't have to lose it. You're done after like your 8 appearances with it. So it's like, I could be wrong in the exact about way that it worked, but it was something to that effect where it's like, no, this is a title that's always changing hands, and it's kind of just to get people introduced and such. I like that instead of just having a shit ton of belts that don't really mean anything except for that they're not the big belts.
And the European Championship doesn't last very long, not much longer in the WWF anyway.
Yeah, this match was all right. I mean, you know, again, not long. Diamond Dallas Page hits the Diamond Cutter and wins, and Christian throws a temper tantrum.
That was pretty funny, actually.
Like a baby. And Diamond Dallas Page sort of goats him. He's like, you know, you lost and you didn't throw a fit, and you lost in front of 70,000 people and you didn't throw a fit in your hometown. And then eventually he throws himself all over the floor and kicks and screaming, arms and legs flailing.
The way that he did it was pretty funny. It made me laugh. Just like it just kind of the synchronicity and like the fluidity of his tantrum was very funny.
It was a funny visual, and it really did remind you of like a kid that's like losing his shit on the floor of like a Baskin Robbins or something. I don't know why it's Baskin Robbins, but and then we got a 2.5 star rating from Dave Meltzer on that one.
Then we got another backstage with The Rock this time talking to Coach. This I thought was kind of cool because he did like a live backstage promo. He could hear the crowd, and this was something that Rock did a lot, was his backstage promos were live so that he could interact with the fans, you know, just with their noise. And it was a pretty solid Rock promo. It was a little silly in the middle with his, I don't remember what he did, but he was like asking Coach questions, making Coach get on his knees and pray or something.
Yeah, he told him to pray, and I won't pray on your knees. Say your prayers. Did you take your vitamins? Did you say your prayers?
Oh yeah, did you take your vitamins? Yeah.
Yeah, so he's kind of playing off Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and he gets a lot of time to hype it up, the match between him and Hogan that we're going to see. So I think overall it was a success.
He even rips his shirt off Hogan style, which had me wondering how. I never looked up how do they gimmick the shirt to rip it? So I looked. Yeah, it says a lot of times they cut it at the seam with the collar, and then you start to kind of pull it apart a little bit, and then you pause for audience reaction, but it's already kind of been sort of ripped.
Right.
The reaction is when you do like the little yank, and then you slowly rip it off, but at that point it's already gone. So gimmicked thin cotton with starter snip. Number 1. Number 2, target shoulder seams. Number 3, pre-tension chest and lats. Number 4, explosive outward snap. Number 5, rip at peak crowd noise.
Oh, goodness.
Thanks, Internet. Thanks.
All right, what did we have after this? Yes. Next was Maven against Goldust for the Hardcore Championship, which we did see in the No Mercy 2002 as well, the Hardcore Championship.
Who's the champion here? Was it Goldust or Maven?
It was Maven.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
Maven
cool.
was the champion, and Jim Ross explains the rules. The Hardcore Championship can be defended anytime. It can be won anytime, anywhere, 24/7. So it is, like we said before, a lot like the 24/7 title of the modern WWE that doesn't exist anymore. Maven we've seen Maven before. I think we watched the Royal Rumble where he eliminated Undertaker. And I think that might have been this year, 2002. Yeah. So,
oh yeah, and Undertaker was like, "You just chose death." Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We watched this one because that was the Royal Rumble where Triple H won, and that's why he's in this main event of WrestleMania here. So yeah, yes. Maven was the first Tough Enough winner, the WWF's reality show where they plucked people out of obscurity and made them pro wrestlers. So Maven gets saddled with the Hardcore Championship. He's fighting with Goldust for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then Spike Dudley runs in after, the Goldust and Maven are hitting each other with trash can lids and sheet pans, and
Goldust has a golden trash can and a golden shovel because he's obviously has golden face paint, golden attire, but I thought that was very part of the WrestleMania, like, oh shit, what can I do
to zhuzh up my stuff?
to hype it up a notch. He's like, oh, I'm gonna bring a golden junk into the ring.
And
but yeah, Spike
runs in with a referee after Goldust and Maven, they both hit each other with a different golden trash can lid. They both fell to the ground. Spike runs in and pins Maven. He gets the win, so he's the new Hardcore champion. Crash Holly chases after Spike Dudley. Goldust chases after both of them. Not great, but the Hardcore Championship does make several returns throughout the night, some of which are more entertaining than others.
So Dave Meltzer gave that one a 1-star rating, which is better than a dud, which is probably where I would have put it. I don't know. I guess for the golden trash can lids, I guess I could give it 1.
It's not a good match, but it's not really about what we see now. It's the thread that it has throughout the entire show.
Yeah. And then we head back to the trailer park.
Yes, but it's Drowning Pool this time. This was written, they made it seem like this song was written about Jericho and Triple H's rivalry. I don't know. I did say Drowning Pool is better than Saliva. At least the lead singer is actually hitting his notes properly, but the song isn't very particularly good. So I got tired of it after a minute.
Wrestling hasn't been affiliated with a serious musical performance since Aretha Franklin performed at WrestleMania 3.
Yep. And she killed it.
I fast-forwarded this performance. I can't think of anyone else I've seen perform on any of these things. There was a Willie Nelson, and that might have been in the first 5 years performance of America the Beautiful. They didn't do America the Beautiful or the Star Spangled Banner on this because they needed to
appeal to the youths.
Hit all the new metal stuff first.
You skipped it. It was not great, but it was better than Saliva. And then we get right back to the Hardcore Championship stuff. So Spike and Crash Holly are fighting in the back, and Al Snow comes in with a golf cart and just plows into a bunch of boxes, cardboard boxes that have nothing in them to create a moment out of it, which is very silly. And this whole little craziness ends with your old pal Hurricane showing up out of nowhere, just coming in, flying in off a rope and with a silly whoosh sound effect. Did you hear the whoosh?
Yeah, there's a hurricane coming.
Funny. So he pins Spike, and he's the new Hardcore champion, and he runs away.
And then we get Kurt Angle with the "You Suck" chants versus Kane. Kane's the baby face here.
Yeah, I love this time. They pop super hard for Angle's music to start, like, yeah, we love Kurt Angle, and then immediately proceed to do the "You Suck" chants, which they mean because it's not like they're doing it ironically like 10 years in the future or whatever.
Right, yeah. It's kind of a whatever match. It's kind of funny seeing Kurt roll up the massive Kane, like do these moves where he's he's toppling him over and trying to stretch him out. And so it's like, I don't know, Kane doesn't really work with that kind of
I mean, the German suplexes
yeah.
look really nice against like a huge dude. Same with the belly to belly. Like this is one of the better matches that I've seen of Kane's, all because of Kurt Angle.
Yeah,
Kurt Angle is so good.
I guess that's what I mean, is that he's got Kane in some positions that aren't really natural for a big man,
Yeah. And, this had a bit more time. This was like 10 minutes instead of 6 or 5. I really enjoyed this one because I just really like Angle. And this is sort of where I realized, like, okay, I was reminded of the conversation we had a few weeks ago where it's like, in-ring matters a lot to me. Angle is one of my favorites because Angle was always so good in the ring. And it's not just that everything looks good or seems real. It's just he was able to tell a story with the moves. And that's what wrestling to me is. So I enjoyed the match. It had a little bit of a messy pin at the end. Kane's shoulder was very clearly off the mat, but Angle got the 3 count and the win.
Yeah, for a 2 3/4 star rating.
And then we got more hardcore championship foolishness. This was definitely the worst of these little segments. Hurricane.
This is where it got horny.
Broomsticky. And Hurricane's trying to run away. And he stumbles into the Godfather's escorts locker room area, and and he hides behind one of those panels that, like, you can very clearly see somebody's behind.
It's like opaque glass or something, so you can see the silhouette, but not.
And these girls are talking, and one of them's like, "I think my boobs are too big," and she takes her shirt off, and she's like, "Look at them," and.
And then the other one like pulls out her ass and is like, "Is this too big?" Like what women stand around like, we need to all go in the back and look at each other's boobs right now.
It's just the most unrealistic thing, and then the whole thing comes to a head when they notice that Hurricane's behind this opaque screen and he's got a broomstick in his hand, and it's supposed to look like he's got like a 2-foot long erection, but it's a fucking broom. Like it can't be, like, it's a broomstick so clearly, but it's like the Austin Powers shadow joke, and they're all like, ah. and then Godfather comes in and like tries to make sure they're all okay, and you can't, like, I'm laughing at it because it's so dumb.
I mean, as a guy dressed up like a superhero with a broom penis silhouette, and it's just so. And then a pimp comes in to whoop his ass.
The shit we talk about sometimes.
I mean,
oh my god.
When I title these podcasts, I'm like, it's always so immature, but I'm like, what? Look at what we're fucking
broomstick
reviewing,
erection. That could be this episode title.
Probably. Godfather didn't pin him for the hardcore champion. Hurricane retained through this.
I don't think. Yeah, he managed to escape unscathed. Just scared all of the escorts. Okay. They're not hoes anymore. They're escorts.
It went from hoes to escorts to now we have sex workers.
Yeah.
So.
Didn't he call them business associates at the Royal Rumble?
But I think he like cleaned himself up and like wasn't like. Didn't he? It was supposed to be no longer.
Right. That's why they're not as hoes. They're as.
Yeah. I wonder if you're like,
if
whatever. Now we say sex workers instead of escorts, is there like a nicer name for pimp? Like I am a facilitator of entertainment. I don't know, like
sex work facilitator. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. The next match was no holds barred. Undertaker versus Ric Flair, and this was set up as. Wasn't there like some convoluted reason that this match was happening? The board approved this match.
It had a good recap for the most part, but there was some silly stuff. So this was we watched the match between Vince and Flair when they were both like co-owners of the company. That's still the same.
Right. So Ric Flair doesn't want to fight The Undertaker.
Yeah, but like Undertaker,
half
I
the
don't know,
company.
Vince maybe convinced Undertaker to do something to Flair. So Undertaker attacked Arn Anderson. This was the first thing that took it, that turned it into a feud. Is Undertaker attacked Arn Anderson for, I think, no good reason and busted him open. And Flair,
And then David Flair.
yeah, Flair's
sorry,
son. He attacked Flair's son. They filmed a whole thing, and Flair obviously got pissed off and wants to defend his friend and his son's honor. So he wants to fight Undertaker. The board stuff is like, Ric Flair, because he's a co-owner, as part of the board of trustees or whatever. And Linda is like, the board in good conscience can't approve you wrestling, so you have to leave the board or take a leave of absence or whatever, giving Vince full control. And then that's where Vince is like, I'm gonna make this a no DQ match. Yeah, and then this is the match that we get: Undertaker versus Ric Flair. Something was a little off in the beginning of this match for me.
Was it Rollin' by Limp Bizkit? That's what was off for me. The Undertaker comes out by Rollin' by Limp Bizkit.
No, I liked this song when I was a kid. I kind of liked Limp Bizkit a little bit.
My girlfriend back in 2002, she used to call this kind of music angry and 20, because by 2002 we were like, hipsters going to fucking, obscure,
going to the Shins
and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And this shit was like, people that were like a year or 2 or 3 younger than us or whatever.
Yeah, listening to the new metal.
Yeah. And she was like, oh my God, it's angry and 20 on the radio again, which I still remember to this day.
That's pretty funny.
Flair is 53. Yeah. Flair is 53 years old here. And Undertaker is on the 10th match of his streak of WrestleMania wins, and he is manhandling Flair at the beginning. Pretty much, he's a working heel.
Flair gets busted open. He's the heel, which is fun. Actually, you don't see Undertaker as the heel super often. It picked up for me after a few minutes of them, I think, just kind of feeling each other out. I think once Undertaker just starts beating the shit out of Flair, it gets better.
Does Flair ever not bleed in a match? Because it's so classic.
He bleeds pretty often, and this is the craze. Like, he bleeds a lot in this. I don't know if he was just sweaty, but he becomes red hair Flair. There was a particularly crazy looking superplex from the top. Undertaker superplexed Flair and both men's feet were on the top rope. So it just looks huge because of how tall Undertaker is. Like, you don't see Undertaker give somebody a suplex from the top where his feet are on the top rope very often.
Oh, the top rope. Yeah. That's crazy.
So, this was a good match. Obviously it's not Undertaker's best WrestleMania match. It's not Flair's best WrestleMania match, but I enjoyed it. It had moments of a comeback for Flair, but really he's just getting his ass whooped a lot.
He turns it around with a lead pipe.
Until eventually not. Yeah.
And kind of goes to town.
And then Undertaker's bleeding, so they're both busted open.
He gets a low blow on the Undertaker, and JR is like, which didn't really connect, but it was funny that he was trying there with a joke. He's like, Undertaker's genitals may be called Death Valley by the time this is all over. I was like, what, JR? His genitals may be called Death Valley? Because the Undertaker's from Death Valley. But Arn Anderson tries to interfere. He's pretty ineffective. He gets his ass kicked, too.
He spinebusters him. They set up a cool little spot. I don't know why, but the Undertaker just attacks the ref for no reason, just obliterates the referee.
Oh, yeah. With the
ref's dead in the corner.
What, the short arm lariat?
Yeah, just
kind of like an Okada type thing. Yeah.
Destroys him, and then that's when Arn Anderson comes out. He hits Undertaker with a spine buster. Flair goes for the cover. It was a cool false finish. He doesn't get the pin. Undertaker attacks Arn and busts him open. So you're right. He was eventually not effective at all. And really like a minute or two after, Undertaker looks like he's going to try to powerbomb Flair, but that doesn't really work. I don't know if it was just like Flair fucked it up or if that was on purpose, because Undertaker eventually hits him with a tombstone and gets the win. And then, yeah, it was Lil Nate was the referee. That's who he attacked like twice. He attacked him after the match too. I don't know
after
why.
the match he did too, but just to be like a badass who just destroys everything inside, I think. But everyone was bleeding, even the Undertaker by the end of this thing, and the Undertaker gives the all 10 fingers, all 10 digits up in the air, just does the quick, because that was the 10th match of his WrestleMania streak, and he rides off on a motorcycle for a 4-star match from David Meltzer.
Yeah, this actually, I think this might have been the first WrestleMania where they actually start talking about the streak. Hence why he does the 10 up in the air, and the commentators mention it as well. So that, obviously,
you wonder if it happened completely intentionally. Like, match 1, you're like,
probably not for the first few, right?
I was gonna say, match 1, you're going over tonight. Match this next year, you might not have thought about it. It might have just made sense for him to go over again. And then at some point, you're like, well,
yeah, might as well keep going.
We haven't had him lose one yet. Like, maybe we should. Yeah, and then it's like, or maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe it got pretty high, and before they were like, this is weird. We've never had him lose. We should start to advertise that.
I don't know exactly when they came up with it, but obviously we know it's super famous now.
The next match was something about an argument over shampoo. It was Booker T versus Edge. I guess Edge won a shampoo commercial spot over Booker T. So there was a grudge here.
Pretty weak.
Booker T did a promo. I'm intelligent. I've got glasses on, don't I?
I wrote that down too.
My high school thesis was Einstein's theory of relatives. So you mean relativity?
My high school thesis.
No, he had 2 theories. High school thesis. That's pretty funny writing.
It was well delivered. I will say that. Like, it was very, very dumb, but Booker T believed it, so I enjoyed it. Another short match is good, I guess.
Edge's hometown.
Yeah, Edge's hometown. Edge gets the win. It was fun. It was short. I don't have much more to say than that.
Lawler's calling him Hair Boy the whole time, which I thought was kind of funny. Lawler's calling Edge Hair Boy. I was kind of watching the signs during this match, which means I probably wasn't too excited about it, but there were some signs that I didn't really understand. There's one that says Brett is fat. There's another one that said Costco, and then there was a number. I think it was like Costco 857 is fake.
I don't know what that was about.
No idea what that means. There was another one that said Hi Alex that kept popping up. I'm like, man, you guys really didn't have any social media platforms.
They did not.
You like really needed to make yourself shine. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like, again, it kind of goes with that thing that, like, you can have a short match that doesn't like irritate me. It's like Edge did a good job kind of dodging all these like crazy high kicks that Booker T was doing, and then eventually, hit his finisher on him and won, and hits the spear, avoids the scissor kicks, hits the spear. It's fine for a 6-minute match. But let's see, that one got 2 1/4 star. And then the hardcore title chaos continues, as it will throughout this thing. This time, Mighty Molly is the Hurricane's sidekick in this superhero gimmick. And she comes out to say what up to Hurricane, and you think it's all fine and dandy, and then she hits his ass with the fucking frying pan on the head. She pins Hurricane. So Mighty Molly
is the hardcore champion.
Yes.
And
I was going to say the 24/7 champion, but it's basically the 24/7 champion.
After that, we got another recap video for our next match, which is with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Scott Hall. Vince brought the NWO into the WWF to inject it with a lethal dose of poison. And this is what he said.
I'm going to inject the WWF with a lethal dose of poison.
Amazing.
I was able to grab that right before we went on.
They screwed Austin out of a title shot, and now he wants revenge on Scott Hall. So we get this match. We think Scott Hall is going to be by himself, but before he even makes it down to the entrance ramp, Kevin Nash shows up. So we know that Austin is going to be at a disadvantage, and this is what I would consider interference done right in a match. I don't know about you, but I used to not love, I guess maybe towards the end of the Bloodline run, I didn't love the interference, like the way that they just always did it exactly the same, you know, where it's like they don't really interfere in the body of the match. It's just at the end. This made sense to me because Nash was constantly doing things to make it more difficult for Austin throughout the match. And they were all little things, right? So he took the top turnbuckle off of one of the corners when the ref wasn't looking.
Classic.
Austin gets thrown outside by Scott Hall, and Scott Hall starts talking to the ref, and then Nash like punches him a couple of times when he's outside. So it's just like little things like that where it's not, you're not saving it all for one moment. You're like stacking the odds against Austin.
You're kind of changing the environment.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's serving two different functions in my examples. Like this versus the Bloodline maybe isn't a great comparison because in the Bloodline examples, it's just the finish that they're using this for. But I like this more. This makes more sense to me as opposed to like going with shock and awe that you repeat over and over again.
Yeah, I feel like at some point there should have been a disqualification because it did get egregious to the point where the other refs that were coming out for the ref bumps and stuff, like they knew that this fucking guy's like not taking out refs, pulling refs off while they're trying to count. Like if you're gonna bring out another ref because you got monitors and shit, you need to be like, Kevin Nash needs to get the fuck out of here, you know, at some point.
Yeah, you'd think. So let me explain. So the match goes on for a few minutes. Austin hits a stunner on Scott Hall. He pins him. And as the ref is counting, Nash pulls the ref out of the ring and just, you know, the ref dies as soon as he touches the ground. And so he starts beating up Austin. And then Hall grabs a chair. Nash has Austin, you know, he's got him in a full Nelson, but Austin escapes right at the last second, stuns them both. And then this I loved. I laughed so hard at this. And so Austin pins Scott Hall. A ref comes sliding into the ring like so fast in the perfect spot to do the count. 1, 2, and Nash is just standing there and just drops a huge elbow on him with all of his body weight and kills that ref. And I laughed so hard. It was so funny.
Yeah, it's like not right. Like at this point, dude, you guys, it's a DQ. It should be, but it wasn't.
It should be because more refs come out to try and get Nash away from ringside. And it's like, so you know what he did, but you're not gonna, you know, you're gonna let the match continue, which is fine because this match has one of the most famous sells of a stunner of all time. And it's the finish of this match where Austin hits Scott Hall with 2 stunners in a row. The first one just rocks Hall and he's like still standing there. But the second one is just the best. Like Scott Hall just figures out the perfect time to bounce from the impact of being stunned and just flies in the air, like 2 feet up in the air, lands on the ground. It's so great. Austin gets the pin and drinks a lot of beers.
I was wondering how I would do if I was in a ring and people were throwing beers at me, if I would be able to catch them as good as Austin could
he had
with
a pretty
one
good
hand.
percent, like a pretty high ratio of catching them successfully.
Yeah, and if he misses one,
calls for another one,
they just throw another one. Yeah, but it's like pretty, like whoever's throwing them is pretty good, and he's pretty good at catching them. And then I don't know. I just wonder if that was just a thing. Like
he just got good at it.
Has a special coordination, or is it like not that hard to catch a beer? I don't know. Maybe we should go out in the backyard and try it after this.
Maybe. Yeah. What did Dave give this one?
A two. Which
yeah,
I'm
that
kind
was
of
more
surprised,
fun than a 2 to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I like Austin. I will say this was during the What era, so much like we get the every time LA Knight punches somebody, we got a what every time Austin did anything to Scott Hall.
Yeah. I realize I'm kind of side tangent. I'm kind of tired of LA Knight. Like I was hoping for a long time that he would get his moment to shine on top. And now I kind of just want him to go away. I'm tired of his face. I'm tired of his like I think it's too late. I don't think he'll ever be like a universal champion or you know, like
I just feel bad. I agree. I think he had a moment at Elimination Chamber and he slipped on the ropes, and everybody makes mistakes, but he has made a lot of mistakes. And I like LA Knight. I liked when he was getting over really organically a couple years ago. I thought there was an opportunity to do something and they didn't do it, and I kind of agree with you that it might be too late now.
Yeah, it feels like that time has passed. But people on the next segment, people are lining up. It's kind of like what they call WWE World now, like the
fan event
presentations for fans where they can go to the booths and meet people and sign things. But they're highlighting. This is ridiculous. They have a replica, a mold of Stacy Keibler's legs and ass with a skirt on it, and they're letting like 12-year-old boys go up and like put their hands on Stacy Keibler's exact replica of her ass and like rub it.
Yeah, not great.
And you're like, what the fuck?
And then they ask her, "What do you think about the replica of your ass?" And she gives like a very uncomfortable answer. That was not great.
Like, it's just it's kind of crazy that all people are lining up all day and they're touching this replica of my butt and my legs.
It's
and
crazy.
It's my actual butt and my legs, and you're just like, oh my god. And then speaking of her butt and her legs, the next one is this Saliva or Downset, or who the fuck is this next band?
This one was. I don't remember, actually. I think it might.
Well, I think it might have been Saliva, but the singer, whoever he is, whatever the dreadlocked, overweight white guy that's.
Yeah, I think it was Saliva singing.
Growling was from. Yeah, so he's got Stacy Keibler in her skirt, and he's like rubbing her hips and her butt while he's singing his stupid song
to introduce the Dudley Boys. Yeah.
So and Stacy Stacy is her ass is sort of the highlight of the next 13 minutes. So we have the WWF Tag Team Championship Elimination 4-Way. Billy and Chuck. That's Billy Gunn and Chuck,
Columbo.
Whoever the fuck.
Columbo with a P.
Wow. Oh, I'm a fan of Columbo with a C, but
it's another podcast. The Columbo podcast. Everybody likes Columbo. It's not to like.
Oh, I'd be down. Yeah, dude, it's fucking great. But Billy and Chuck championships versus the Dudley Boys versus APA versus the Hardy Boys. So 2 men in the ring at the same time. You can tag whoever you want. This is the popcorn match.
It was an elimination match too, which was like which is a little different, like once you pin somebody, that team is just eliminated from the match. I agree though. This was the popcorn match. It wasn't my favorite match. It's just a little too chaotic. It was hard to know who was legal until APA got eliminated. It slowed down a bit after that.
Yeah. APA gets eliminated. Yeah, APA gets eliminated first. Stacy tries to distract Jeff Hardy. She pulls her tiny shorts all the way up her ass, exposing her ass. And then he kind of wanders over and slaps it as hard as he can. She turns around. He forcibly kisses her and throws her off the ring apron.
It's not very nice to Stacy.
It was pretty weird and kind of, I don't know. It's kind of hostile. But Nick Patrick is refereeing, which Aaron always loves, although he didn't really
do any shady shit.
Shenanigans.
No, he was fine.
Devon manages to go through a table at some point. I don't know if we talked about it on this podcast, but if you're the one who sets up the table, you're pretty much
you're probably going to go through it. Yeah, that's
guaranteed going through it.
That's totally fair. Yeah, Dudley's are out. The match becomes Billy and Chuck against the Hardys. It was fine. The Billy and Chuck win with cheating, I think. I don't remember what they did, though. I didn't write it down.
They used the belt when the ref wasn't looking to knock out whatever Hardy and win. But it was the weakest. I mean, to me, this was the weakest match. Dave gave it a 1 3/4 stars, so I guess he thought it was better
than the hardcore match.
The hardcore match, but I don't know. I mean, these guys are all, they're great tag teams, but it's just the stipulation and the amount of people and the focus on, Stacy and stuff was just kind of
it's hard to top last year. I mean, WrestleMania 17, I'm pretty sure it was TLC 2, which is super famous.
Okay.
So They probably just knew they couldn't top it, and they tried, but it
Yeah, they were
didn't
probably
work.
running out of ideas in that era where it's just like Hardy's, Dudley's,
Yeah, they did it
Hardys,
to
Dudley's,
death because it worked.
tables.
But when you do something over and over again, its effect lessens. But thankfully,
diminishing returns. Yes,
it was over in less than 15 minutes, and it was time for the what seemed like it would have been the main event, given all the hype around it, but wasn't. It was the 10th match on a 12-match card. It was Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. This one had another really long recap video, and it's not like the most interesting story in the world. It's just, I'm a big deal, and I'm a big deal. Well, who's the bigger deal, pretty much? But Hogan comes out and gets a big reaction right from the get-go. And the reaction that Rock was getting earlier in his backstage doesn't really carry over when he comes out for this match. He gets a reaction, but as soon as they're in the ring,
it's more Hogan, right?
Oh my God. Well, once they're both in the ring, it's just like, yeah, the crowd is all Hogan. And even, JR says like, oh, the crowd is many in the crowd chanting for Rock, many in the crowd chanting for Hogan. And I'm like, no, this shit ain't split. It's like 80% Hogan, 20% Rock.
It's like nuclear. Like if we're talking about the crowds and crazy on this pay-per-view, like this was the moment where they were the craziest.
This is the greatest crowd of all time.
They shouldn't have done anything after this match because you just can't follow it. And Hulk Hogan is like, I mean, it's hard to tell because the crowd kind of helps make the match, but it seems to be actually doing shit, like being a worker, like trying to make shit look good and real and like doing the moves. Like it was the best.
Not like any of the fucking garbage we saw in WCW. This is a real match.
It was like, wow, I can't believe this guy is even capable of this because we've seen him do so much before, in the 90s. That was nothing. Just come out there and it's almost like someone was like, this has to count, or someone got in his ear.
Well, I think he understood what a moment this was. I mean, so that the match, we get this, what I would consider to be a pretty famous moment of them both nose to nose in the middle of the ring, just staring at each other. I mean, they're not, they're like maybe a foot away from each other, staring at one another, just letting the crowd go, letting the crowd get hyped. Yeah. And they do this thing where they both slowly look to one side and then the other one looks to the other side. They slowly come back to middle. They switch to the other side, the opposite side from where they originally were. They just let the crowd get excited. And, then they get excited. The bell rings. The crowd loses their shit.
Didn't Roman and Cody imitate like a
little bit
before? I've seen other wrestlers do the turn side to side, like pay homage to that. I don't know if it was exactly.
Yeah, usually I would imagine if they're doing that, this is what they're referencing, because you can tell when you're watching, this is a one-of-a-kind moment. And, bell rings, crowd cheers. They get into a tie-up, just a collar and elbow tie-up. Hogan pushes Rock out of the tie-up, and Rock sells it huge. The crowd erupts when he hits the mat. Yep. Hogan does his poses, and I'm getting goosebumps right now just on my body thinking about it. It's insane what they how they explode. And you're like, oh my God, this is like, what is happening right now?
It's funny because I have the same words in my notes. Place explodes. Like, what I mean? It's like, it's the only way to describe it. It's completely like, I mean, it seems unprecedented. Like, I don't know if there's anything before or after, that's like that wild.
Yeah, the vibes in this match are one of a kind and may never be duplicated ever again. I mean, this match, and what's funny is, like you were alluding to a few minutes ago, like purely from an in-ring perspective, this is like one of the most basic matches you could ever see. Like Hogan doesn't do anything crazy, but it feels real and the crowd believes it. Hogan hits a shoulder tackle maybe a minute or two after he poses again. The crowd loses their shit again. Like they're going nuts for Hogan. And there's, they talk about it pretty famously that Hogan and Rock supposedly decided to change the match on the fly when they heard the crowd, because Hogan was supposed to be the heel, but they kind of, I mean, Hogan still does heelish stuff, so I don't know how much they really changed it, but they adjust slightly. And he calls Rock Meatball, which I thought was really funny because that's what he calls Rocky Balboa in Rocky 3 when he's playing Thunder Lips.
Oh, yeah.
You're nothing, Meatball. And I mean, I wrote so much about this. I feel like I've seen this match so many times that I probably have it memorized, but Rock does get a little bit, like he has a little bit of a comeback after a couple of minutes. He gets some cheers, but it sounds to me like it's like the kids, you know, and it's like mostly boos, but there's some like cheers. But yeah, most of the crowd is booing Rock no matter what he does. Hogan can do no wrong. Like I think he did a boot scrape, like he scraped his boot across Rock's face and scratched his back, and they're like cheering it. Like it's heelish stuff, but they're just like like fucking kill him.
Yeah, I was kind of seeing like some of where like John Moxley gets some of his shit like from, you know, during this. But yeah, I don't know. He didn't Hulk hit Rock with the low blow.
I don't remember the low blow.
I thought he hit him with the low blow before he hit him with the rock bottom.
Maybe he did. I might have missed it. I don't remember that moment, but you could be right. So there's a ref bump in this match too. This one I thought was actually pretty good, a pretty good ref bump. And I guess maybe he did do something heelish. He hit Rock with a rock bottom. The ref comes to. It's only a 2 count. Oh yeah, he takes off his belt. He whips the shit out of Rock, his big heavy weight belt.
Yes.
The match continues, and eventually Rock hits Hogan with a rock bottom. And we get a 1, we get a 2. Hogan kicks out, crowd erupts again. And this kick out is when I get goosebumps again for the second time in this match, because this is when he hulks up and the crowd goes insane, like as insane as they did for when he pushes Rock out of that first tie-up. They go fucking ape shit, and he hits him with the 3 punches. He hits him with the big boot and the leg drop, and I wrote down, this might be one of the best false finishes of all time because of how the crowd just like bit on it. They were like, yeah, he's gonna beat him, and then they were, oh, you know, and it was just so great. Rock eventually gets a little comeback going. It does get a reaction. He hits him with a couple of rock bottoms, and the people's elbow gets the win. But man, there is just nothing like that kick out from Hogan into the Hulk up. It is a one of a kind moment, and you can tell because of how the crowd reacts.
I wonder if it was just like time. Like this was, you know, Hogan left. He went, you know, he was tired and with the red and the yellow, and WWE he left. He reinvented himself in WCW. That kind of ran its course. Now he came home. He's older. There's not much left. That's like he's not going to be able to like go many more times. Like this was effectively like Hogan's what should have been his like retirement match, right? I mean,
yeah, and it obviously wasn't because he went to TNA and whatever. But
this was like the last great thing that he did.
Yeah,
right?
to me, this might be the best match, one of the best matches that he ever had. This Hogan against Andre, Hogan versus Slaughter. You know, Rock is the winner. Hall and Nash come out. We forgot to mention earlier that after Scott Hall got beaten, Hogan, Hall, and Nash have a little backstage segment, and Hall and Nash want to help Hogan. Hogan comes in. He's like, no, I don't want you to help me. I need to do this myself. And obviously he lost. So Hall and Nash come out and they're pissed off and they beat up Hogan. Rock comes back in for the save. Hogan tries to leave. Rock insists that he comes back and does his, you know, his ears to the crowd participation thing where he picks what side was the loudest and then gives them the poses and stuff. He does that for every one of the 4 sides of the ring, and they walk back together. And it was a cool, you know, like what they always say is a passing of the torch moment, right? Mm-hmm. So best WrestleMania match of all time, certainly up there in the top 5 for me. I love this match. I feel really bad for the 2 matches that have to come after.
So that match was given, let me see if this is right.
Because it's too low.
Dave Meltzer, Rock versus Hogan, Mania 18, rating. Yep, it's right. For a 3-star rating from Dave Meltzer, which is not even the best match on this card, which is crazy. But Dave Meltzer is not the, not the most like agreeable rating dude ever. I mean,
I don't think he's factoring in vibe and crowd.
right. He's like looking at work rate or something. I don't know. And then we go on to the women's championship, which is a 3-way, which is a strike against it. Jazz is the champion. She's going against Trish versus Lita. But the real strike against this match is that it's after that crazy ass fucking match before it. It's almost just like, who gives a shit? There were 3 chicks in the ring and they wrestled a little bit. Jazz hits a DDT on Lita and retains for a 1 1/2 star. I don't know if there's anything else to say about that one. Really, it shouldn't have been there, in my opinion.
Yeah, the crowd's just uninterested. I mean, they just like went on an emotional roller coaster. They just, like shot up heroin for 25, 30 minutes and then are now coming down off it. So I just kind of feel bad. Like, the match was impressive, but it was a little messy. But the crowd's just dead quiet, So it just like, even if it was a great match, it didn't come off that way, unfortunately.
And then the hardcore title changes hands again. I don't know. I don't know if Christian already has.
Oh, did we miss one? Yeah. Right. So
smacked Mighty Molly with the door, but I think that might have happened earlier. But Christian somehow got it off of Mighty Molly. Now Christian's trying to leave a champion. He's got the hardcore title, and he's like, "Oh, this is great. I'm going to leave as a champion." And before he gets in his limo, Maven fucking pins his ass,
sneaks up with the roll up.
And takes his ride, jumps in the car, and leaves him at WrestleMania.
And his gear. Like, I think he put his suitcase in the trunk of that car. So he stole his shit and the title and his car.
Yeah, that's funny. And then we get on to the undisputed WWF Championship champion Chris Jericho with Stephanie McMahon in his corner versus Triple H. Stephanie McMahon's, I guess, former husband in story, husband in real life still. They go for about 20 minutes. Stephanie's interfering constantly. She gets some shots in. They put each other, some back body drops on some announcing tables, and Stephanie eats a pedigree from her husband.
That got a big reaction.
It's not a bad match.
It's not. It's just
oddly placed.
The crowd's just not super into it. Like the only things that really got them going was Triple H grabbing Stephanie after she interferes, Jericho spearing her by accident. Like they're pretty quiet for the most. The second big reaction was what you said about the announce tables. Triple H was going to pedigree Jericho on the English announce table, but Jericho does the old back body drop reversal onto the Spanish announce table. That got a big pop. But like, Jericho hits a lion salt, makes the pin. Crowd doesn't make a sound when Triple H kicks out. It's just like, the noise floor is just there. The finishers do get crowd reactions. The pedigree to Stephanie gets the biggest pop of the entire match up until the win, where Triple H gets a pedigree on Jericho and the pin, But like, again, this is a good match. In any other pay-per-view, after any other match that wasn't Rock versus Hogan, this would get a big reaction. This would be a well-received match. But man, how could you follow Rock and Hogan?
Yeah, and old Dave gave it so game wins with the pedigree, and Dave gives it 3 1/2 stars, so he liked it more than the Hogan Rock.
What was his highest rated match of this thing?
I think we had a 4 somewhere in there. We had a Undertaker versus Ric Flair. So he was kind of off in hindsight, like pretty far off on this whole thing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was a good match, but it was no Rock Hogan.
Here at Grapple City Rewind, we have a 3-tier rating system. Fast forward, play, or rewind. Fast forward being, it sucked. Play being, it was pretty good. We liked it. And rewind being, it was absolutely spectacular. Aaron, this pay-per-view was your call. So how about you go first?
Sure thing. I didn't decide until I haven't made a decision until right at this moment. And I guess I'm going to say play, because it is almost 4 hours long, and as a whole, it is good. You could even say it's quite good. Is it just a banger from start to finish? No, it's not. But it does have one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time, one of the best crowds of all time, maybe the best false finish of all time. So it's got a lot riding, a lot going for it. But there are some stinkers. There's some matches that are good, just good, not great. So I say watch it if you want to, or if you've never watched Rock and Hogan, like, holy shit, go watch that match right now. But the other stuff's good too. It's just not as good as some of the other stuff we've seen from these people in this era.
I think I'm going to go ahead and say Rewind, just because you have the Rock Hogan thing, the loudest, craziest crowd everywhere. You have all the heroes, the Ric Flairs, the Undertakers, the mid card goes fast and it's pretty easy to watch. It is a little bit long. I'm going to go Rewind only on one stipulation, that you fast forward the rap rock stuff, which I literally did. And that'll kind of balance it out, probably somewhere where it should be. If it were a 5-star rating, probably teeter not quite to 5, but it's I mean, compared to other WrestleManias I've watched, it's pretty high up there. So Rewind on that one. And I'm going to go ahead and skip, because we're running like super long on this one, the Grapple Gang. We do always love to hear from you, the Grapple Gang. And we will be back with that segment next week. You can always reach out to us via telephone and get our Google Voice line. Leave us a message, cut a promo on us, tell us what you think we should watch next, tell us what you liked or didn't like about our show. 626-657-SLAM. You can always write us an email. We are grapplecitypod@gmail.com, or you can find us across social media at Grapple City Pod. Aaron, this past pay-per-view was your call, making the next one mine. But I did want to get your opinion on my idea.
Okay.
I'm thinking we watch Collision in Korea, which is on YouTube. It's grainy and it's not the greatest video, but it is unique. If people don't know about Collision in Korea, it is actually a wrestling match that happened in Korea in front of like 110,000 fucking people. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it? And are you open to watching some grainy old shit on YouTube?
I have not seen it, and I am open to watching grainy old shit on YouTube.
All right, so it took place in Pyongyang, North Korea. It was produced by New Japan and WCW. It has 15 matches over the course of 2 evenings, April of 1995. And it also aired in the United States, and it's the second largest attendance for a wrestling event ever at, 190,000 people.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit. So if we have to break this up into 2 episodes, because it was 2 days, we can. But we will at least watch what we can. It looks like, it might be too many. It might be like 20 fucking matches. If we have to break it up, we will. But we'll at least watch day 1 of Collision in Korea for the next episode.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, that's all the time we got for today. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back at you as soon as we possibly can.
Catch you in the cheap seats. Adios.